Boy, I tell you, you guys are fired up on social media. Next year, we could see a convention in which Republican voters don't get to pick their nominee. How could that be possible? Our political insiders are back, John, Pat, and Doug. Pat, I'm going to start with you and what one viewer is saying, because I heard you echo something like this in the break. Michael P. Mulhall says, zero upside for this. GOP would risk alienating their party faithful, could drive them away in the general election.
Look, we've said for over a year here in Political Insiders that the Republican Party was hanging by a string from falling apart because its base, its voters, were disliked and distrusted their leadership so much. The idea that they're going to allow the establishment, which this week is giving away the Caddell tax to the Democrats so that union members will not be punished in an election year. It's a crazy thing. All of these things, there won't be a Republican Party if they have a broker convention, which is the bosses trying to, the leadership trying to impose someone. You could have a contested election because you have too many people. All in all, it isn't good news for the Republicans.
Oh, all right. You said too many people. Why don't some of these people below a certain percentage get out? I mean, what is the percentage of theirs, your pollster formerly, of actually jumping ahead of Trump at this point?
First, there's always hope. The polls are sometimes wrong. But putting that aside, Harris, there's a simple answer. A lot of these candidates are not really running for president. They're running for cabinet positions, ambassadorial positions, or at the very least, more influence in the party. The minute you drop out, you lose a lot of that influence.
Yeah. John, this is your party. So what's your major concern if you see this go into a situation where the people don't get to waive their own choice?
I would go along with what Pat said. I've thought this too, that we are witnessing perhaps the breaking up of the Republican Party. It's been going on a while, but 2010 with the rise of the Tea Party versus the establishment.
Are you worried that Donald Trump will go to a third party?
Yeah. He keeps mentioning
it.
Why?
Okay, I have to ask this, and I know that the establishment won't jump in and back a candidate, any one of them. They can't do that at this point, but they can certainly send some signals, okay? Yeah. Why are we not seeing some signals for the Republican who has wanted what you guys have wanted all along, and that is 100% of the airtime and a message that gets out? Why not love Donald Trump more?
Because they can't control him. They think, a lot of these boss guys, they think...
Who do you control in Washington? These guys do what they want, right? He's different, no?
They believe Jeb Bush would be their candidate.
Right.
He would cater to the establishment, and candidly, he has fallen like a rock. Pat and John are right. The poll numbers are clear on that. The establishment doesn't like Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio, as Pat said, there's no clear place he's going to win a primary. So they're betwixt and between.
I got to get back to this one thing. You asked this question, why does someone under 5% not drop out? So let's take the case of Chris Christie, who didn't even make the last debate and is now, he hung in there with great persistence in New Hampshire, got the endorsement of the New Hampshire union leader. Boom. He's in second place.
Excellent example.
He's back in the debate Tuesday night.
We
could, let's see,
lightning.
could
what do they make?
magic, lightning to strike,
and lightning to strike,
but let's
and magic
say,
to happen.
Is it not conceivable that the establishment trying to stop Trump and Cruz could rally to Chris Christie as their guy?
They'll have about as much success with Chris Christie as they've had already.
You cannot take from the voters of this year in both parties. The Democratic Party does it with their superdelegates and their rigged system. The Republican establishment is trying to desperately rig this and doesn't know how. And the problem is this is a year when the voters demand control because they've had it with where their country's
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so Pam I Am on Twitter. I can't show you the picture because you can't get a shot of the screen, but it's a guy with an elephant and a donkey, and he says, I've just had it with you two.
Yeah, that's why
America.
we could still get a major third-party candidate. Don't kid yourself. This election is hardly over.
Pat,
it is just beginning.
Pat, is the next president of the United States in this race yet?
Who knows?
Who knows?
But
really? Oh, come on.
No, I'm telling you, you don't. The forces at work here in the country, where the voters are looking at the fields going, I don't know. And Trump, look, Trump has taken a real hit in the general election numbers. That's what also terrifies Republicans. Of course, but they also actually hate Cruz, I think, even much worse than they do Trump.
Right.
But here's the point. The voters want to be heard. They want their country back. And if you're going to end up with a contest where it's simply going to be these two parties dominated by their bosses or their leadership or Washington, you're going to get somebody else.
With all this division and Hillary staying below the radar As long as there are no charges from the Justice Department, she is in good shape.
Did you hear that caveat? And he's a friend of hers.
I am. John, I'm not.
Wow.
When I
All right,
say that.
we'll come right back. Stay close.
No, John, I'm not.